Let me start with something a lot of men don't want to hear. If a woman doesn't want you, she will show you. And it's your job to pay attention. Too many men ignore the obvious signs because they don't want to face the truth. They keep holding on, chasing, or trying harder, thinking effort will magically change her feelings. But here's the harsh reality. Attraction isn't built through desperation, persistence, or convincing. It's built through desire, respect, and natural connection. If those things aren't there, no amount of chasing will fix it. Now, this is important. Women rarely say it straight. Most won't look you in the eye and say, "I don't want you." Instead, they'll show it through their actions, their energy, and how they treat you. And if you're not paying attention, you'll waste your time, your emotions, and sometimes even your self-respect on someone who never truly valued you. This is why learning the signs is so important. It's not about becoming bitter or cynical. It's about protecting yourself. Because every time you ignore the red flags, you put yourself in a weaker position. And when you finally wake up to the truth, it hurts 10 times more. So in this video, we're going to break it down. I'm going to give you the signs that a woman doesn't want you, the ones you cannot afford to ignore. Some of these will be obvious once you hear them. Others might surprise you, but together they paint a clear picture. And once you see the pattern, you'll never look at women's behavior the same way again. If you're serious about valuing yourself, if you're tired of being strung along or investing in someone who doesn't actually care, then this is for you. Welcome to the channel. This is where we cut through the noise, get real about relationships, and help men understand what's really going on. 1. She shows no genuine interest in you. One of the biggest signs a woman doesn't want you is the lack of genuine interest. Now, let me be clear. Interest doesn't always mean she's head over heels from the first day. Attraction often builds. But when a woman truly sees you as someone she could want, her curiosity shows up naturally. She wants to know who you are, what you think, and how you feel. If none of that is happening, that's your first red flag. Think about your conversations with her. Are they one-sided? Do you feel like you're pulling teeth just to keep things going? If she's giving you short, bland answers, checking her phone mid-conversation, or not asking you anything back, it's because her interest level is almost non-existent. A woman who is into you will give you energy. She'll laugh a little harder at your jokes. She'll make eye contact. She'll lean in when you talk. And she'll ask follow-up questions because she wants to connect with you. Now compare that with the opposite. If you're always the one initiating, if she never takes the time to ask about your life, if she barely responds or shows you she's distracted, that's a subtle way of saying, "I'm not invested." Men often make the mistake of overlooking this sign because they assume she's just busy or not great at texting. But here's the truth. When a woman really wants you, she makes time for you, even if it's just a 2-second reply to let you know she cares. Don't confuse politeness with genuine interest. Some women will smile, nod, and even entertain a short conversation just to be nice. But that's not attraction. That's her being socially decent. The difference is in the effort. If she doesn't go beyond surface-level interaction, you're not on her radar in the way you want to be. Here's where most men mess up. They try harder when they sense disinterest. They start overcompensating, sending longer texts, giving more compliments, planning more dates, thinking they can win her over. That's the worst thing you can do. The more you chase, the clearer it becomes that she has no interest, and the more her respect for you drops. A woman's genuine interest reveals itself in her energy. If she wants you, you'll feel it. If you're always second-guessing, always questioning where you stand, and always feeling like you're talking to a wall, it's because she doesn't want you. And the smartest thing you can do in that moment isn't to fight for her attention. It's to recognize the truth and walk away. When you start valuing yourself enough to only give your energy to women who clearly want you, your whole dating life changes. Interest can't be faked, and if it's not there from her side, nothing you do will create it. 2. Her effort is bare. Minimum, one of the clearest ways to see if a woman doesn't truly want you is to look at her level of effort. Effort tells you everything you need to know about where you stand in her mind. See, when a woman is genuinely interested in a man, she naturally invests. She contributes to conversations, she makes time, she initiates plans, and she tries to connect. She doesn't have to be told. Her desire makes her show up. But when her effort is the bare minimum, it's a red flag. Maybe she only replies with short, dry texts. Maybe she takes hours or even days to respond. Maybe she always agrees to plans but never initiates them herself. Or worse, she cancels often, leaves you hanging, or only shows up when it's convenient for her. That's not attraction. That's indifference. And indifference is worse than outright rejection, because it keeps you stuck, wondering if there's a chance. Now, men often ignore this sign because they're stuck in their own effort. They convince themselves, well, she responded, so that must mean something. But no, it doesn't. A woman typing LOL or K to your message isn't showing interest. That's bare minimum energy, and it should tell you exactly how she feels. She doesn't value you enough to put in effort. Here's the truth. Attraction is revealed through consistency. A woman who wants you will mirror your effort. If you send her a thoughtful message, she'll send one back. If you plan a date, she'll be excited to go and might even suggest the next one. If you give her your time, she'll respect it and reciprocate. Effort creates balance. When you're the only one carrying the weight, you're not in a relationship. You're in a one-sided performance. Think about how many times men get caught up in overgiving. They chase, they plan, they pay, they pour all their energy into the woman, while she gives back almost nothing. And instead of recognizing the lack of balance, they keep pushing, hoping she'll one day match their energy. That's not how it works. If she wanted to, she already would. A woman's effort shows her true intentions. If she barely replies, never initiates, avoids real conversations, or treats you like an option, it's because she sees you that way. You don't need to analyze mixed signals or excuses. 3. She avoids physical and emotional closeness. One of the clearest signs that a woman is pulling away, or that her attraction is slipping, is when she begins to avoid closeness, both physically and emotionally. This isn't always obvious at first, because she may still be around you, still talk to you, and even still act normal in some ways. But the difference is in the level of intimacy she allows. Think about it. When a woman is genuinely attracted to you, she naturally gravitates toward closeness. She wants to sit next to you, lean into you, hug you, or find little excuses to touch you. And emotionally, she'll open up, sharing details about her day, her feelings, her insecurities, even her dreams. This is her way of saying, I feel safe with you, and I want you in my world. But when that changes, it's noticeable. Suddenly, the casual touches stop. She's too tired for affection. She avoids long hugs or doesn't initiate physical contact like she once did. On the emotional side, the conversations get surface level. Instead of telling you what's really on her mind, she keeps things short and vague. She may even seem distracted when you try to go deeper. Now here's the important part. This avoidance is rarely about you directly asking for affection or connection. It's about how she feels inside. Women pull back from closeness when they're either losing interest or when they want to create distance. Sometimes it's because she wants to test if you'll notice. Other times, she's already checked out mentally, but she hasn't told you yet. So how should you respond when you notice this? First, don't chase. The worst thing you can do when she avoids closeness is to smother her or force intimacy. That only makes her pull further away. Instead, mirror her energy. If she's holding back, you hold back too. Not out of spite, but out of self-respect. This balance communicates, I'm not going to beg for your affection. I value myself too much for that. Second, redirect your focus. Instead of obsessing over why she's distant, invest in yourself. Spend more time on your goals, your fitness, your friends, your lifestyle. This creates a contrast. She sees that while she's pulling back, you're not crumbling. You're thriving. And that shift can often reignite her curiosity and attraction because it triggers her fear of losing you to your own independence or even to another woman who appreciates you. The bottom line is this. When a woman avoids physical and emotional closeness, it's a red flag. But it's also an opportunity for you to show strength. Instead of panicking, you create space. Instead of chasing, you maintain your value. And ironically, that very shift can be the thing that pulls her back in. 4. She stops respecting your time. One of the clearest signs that a woman doesn't want you is when she no longer values your time. Pay attention to how she treats your availability, your schedule, and the effort you put into making plans. A woman who's truly interested will want to see you. She'll make space in her life, and she'll respect when you take time out for her. But when that interest fades, you'll start noticing her behavior around time shift in ways that you can't ignore. Maybe she's suddenly too busy all the time. Every time you suggest meeting up, she has an excuse: work, school, errands, or vague reasons that don't quite add up. And here's the important part. It's not that she's actually too busy. It's that she doesn't want to prioritize you anymore. We all make time for what matters to us, no matter how packed our schedules are. If she was into you, she'd find a way. Another red flag is constant lateness. When a woman keeps you waiting, shows up an hour late without much apology, or cancels last minute, it's a clear sign she doesn't see your time as valuable. And when someone doesn't respect your time, it almost always means they don't respect you. That's not the foundation of attraction. It's the slow death of it. You'll also notice she might become inconsistent with communication. Sometimes she'll reply instantly. Other times she'll take days. This hot and cold approach leaves you confused. But here's the truth. Confusion is a choice. If she wanted you, you wouldn't be confused. You'd feel secure in how she communicates. Men often excuse this behavior by thinking, she's just busy, or maybe she's stressed. But if it keeps happening, it's not about her schedule. It's about you not being a priority anymore. And here's where you have to wake up. Every time you let her get away with disrespecting your time, you lower your own value in her eyes. The bottom line is this. A woman who truly desires you will respect your time because she values being with you. If she doesn't, you need to stop chasing, stop rescheduling, and stop accepting excuses. Walking away is the only move that preserves your dignity and shows you refuse to be treated as an afterthought. 5. She becomes emotionally distant. A woman's emotional investment in you is one of the strongest indicators of her interest. When she cares, she shares her thoughts, her feelings, her frustrations, her dreams. She lets you in because she sees you as someone she wants close in her life. But when she starts pulling away emotionally, it's a major sign that she doesn't want you anymore. At first, you'll notice subtle changes. She stops opening up about her day the way she used to. Conversations that once flowed with ease now feel forced, dry, or surface level. Where she once wanted to share her inner world with you, she now keeps things vague or short. And here's the thing. Emotional distance almost always shows up before physical distance. When a woman checks out emotionally, she's already halfway out the door. You may also notice she stops seeking your support. If she's going through something, stress at work, conflict with friends, family drama, You used to be the first person she turned to. Now, she either keeps it to herself or confides in someone else. That's her way of shifting reliance away from you, signaling that she no longer sees you as her emotional anchor. Here's a simple example. Imagine you text her asking, "How was your day?" A woman who's interested might respond with a long message, sharing the highs and lows, maybe even complaining a little, because she trusts you with that vulnerability. But a woman who's emotionally checked out? Her response will be short, "Fine," "Okay," or "busy," and she won't elaborate. That's not just laziness, it's disinterest. Another thing to pay attention to is her level of empathy toward you. If you had a rough day before, she might have comforted you, listened closely, or tried to lift your spirits. Now, she barely reacts, changes the subject, or gives you a flat, "Sorry to hear that." When a woman no longer feels connected to you, she won't put effort into caring about your struggles. This is where most men make a mistake. They try to overcompensate. They sense her pulling away, so they pour in more energy, more attention, and more emotional effort, thinking it will win her back. But the harder you push, the faster she retreats. Why? Because attraction isn't built by begging for emotional connection. It's built by mutual desire to share it. The bottom line is simple. When a woman wants you, she naturally invests emotionally. 6. She avoids. Talking about the future. One of the clearest signs a woman doesn't want you anymore is when she stops including you in her vision of the future. When a woman is invested, she naturally talks about what's ahead, whether it's small things like weekend plans or bigger life goals like travel, moving, or even marriage. Future talk is how women signal commitment and deepen their bond with a man. But when that disappears, it's her way of telling you, without saying it outright, that she no longer sees you as part of her long-term life. Think about it. In the beginning, she might have casually mentioned trips you two should take together, events you could attend, or even what kind of place you might live in someday. Those little hints weren't just random words. They were signs that she was weaving you into her future. But when she doesn't want you anymore, all of that stops. The conversation shrinks to the present, or worse, it becomes vague and non-committal. Here's a practical example. Imagine you say, "We should check out that new restaurant next week." A woman who's into you will say, "Yes, let's do it," and maybe even suggest a day. But a woman who doesn't want you anymore will respond with something like, "We'll see," or "maybe," and then never bring it up again. That's not indecisiveness, that's avoidance. On a bigger scale, if you bring up more serious things like moving in together or making long-term plans, she'll suddenly change subject, get uncomfortable, or shut the conversation down entirely. She might even say, "I don't know what I want right now," or "Let's just see where things go." Those phrases are not about uncertainty. They're about keeping you at arm's length because she no longer imagines a future with you. Another subtle cue is how she reacts when you talk about your own plans. If you mention goals, ambitions, or what you want for the next few years, a woman who's invested will naturally align her vision with yours, showing support or curiosity. A woman who's detached, on the other hand, won't engage. She'll listen passively, maybe nod, and then change the subject. That's her silent way of saying, "Your future doesn't involve me." Most men make a critical mistake here. They notice her reluctance to talk about the future and try to push harder, bringing up plans, pressuring her for commitment, or demanding clarity. But here's the harsh truth. When a woman doesn't want you anymore, she's already made her decision emotionally. 7. She stops respecting you. Respect is the foundation of attraction. A woman can find you physically attractive, she can enjoy your company, but if she doesn't respect you, she doesn't truly want you. When a woman starts pulling away, one of the last but most painful signs is the way she slowly strips away the respect she once had for you. Respect shows up in little things. How she talks to you, how she listens when you speak, how she reacts to your decisions, and whether she values your role in the relationship. When a woman wants you, she looks up to you in some way. She admires your strength, your discipline, your confidence, or simply the way you lead your life. But when she doesn't want you anymore, that admiration fades, and the absence of respect is obvious. For example, she might start interrupting you constantly when you talk, dismissing your opinions, or making sarcastic comments at your expense. These aren't playful jokes anymore. They're subtle digs. You'll notice the difference because instead of laughing together, you feel belittled. Another shift happens in how she talks about you to others. When a woman respects you, she naturally speaks highly of you around her friends, family, or co-workers. But when she's lost respect, she may start pointing out your flaws, criticizing you, or even making you the punchline of her stories. It might sound harmless, but it's a way of signaling, both to you and to others, that she no longer sees you as the man she once admired. Respect also shows in how she treats your time and boundaries. If she still values you, she won't constantly cancel plans, ignore your calls, or treat your schedule as less important than hers. But once she doesn't want you, she'll do exactly that. She'll show up late without apology, cancel at the last minute, or act as if your time doesn't matter. That's not an accident. It's her way of telling you she no longer prioritizes you. The worst part is when disrespect turns into testing. The power of walking away with dignity. Here's where it all comes together. A lot of men stay stuck in the cycle of chasing because they fear that walking away means losing. But the truth is, walking away with dignity is not about losing anything. It's about winning yourself back. It's about regaining your self-respect, your emotional strength, and your control over your own life. When a woman shows you through her actions that she doesn't value you, the most powerful move you can make isn't to argue, beg, or prove your worth. It's to leave gracefully and on your terms. When you walk away with dignity, you're sending a silent but undeniable message. I know my value. I don't need to beg for your attention. I don't need to compete for your love. Either you see my worth, or I'll go where it is appreciated. And trust me, women feel that energy deeply. Even if she doesn't say it, she notices it. She might even test you to see if you'll chase one more time. But when you don't, when you stay grounded and calm, that's when the power shifts completely back to you. This doesn't mean walking away should be done in anger or bitterness. Dignity isn't about slamming doors or leaving insults behind. It's about exiting with class. Be polite, be firm, and be clear in your actions. Don't block her out of spite. Don't stalk her on social media. Don't leave long paragraphs explaining yourself. Just quietly remove yourself from her world and invest that energy into building your own. Ironically, this is the moment many women realize what they've lost. They'll remember the attention, the effort, the presence you once gave, and they'll compare it to the silence that now surrounds them. That's when regret often sets in. But here's the key. You don't walk away to make her regret. You walk away because you value yourself more. If regret comes later, that's just a side effect. At the end of the day, walking away with dignity is the clearest proof that you are a man who won't tolerate half-love, breadcrumbs, or disrespect. You're not waiting for her validation anymore. You've given it to yourself. And that, my friend, is what makes you truly untouchable.